Hello everyone. We are going to look at absolute value examples for solving equations. So we're going to start with a very simple example of square root of x minus 1 equals 2. So before I do this one, I just want to have a little recap of the things we know about absolute value. Remember that when we say an absolute value of a negative number, we all know the absolute value always gives us a positive answer. Suppose we have a positive absolute value, the answer will always be positive. And if you can recall the definition of an absolute value of x, it is x when x is greater than or equal to 0 and minus x when x is less than 0. Now these were the simple basics, but how do we solve an equations which have an absolute value? So the little formula we basically use is this, is that when absolute value of x equals a, to remove the absolute value, we write this as x equals plus minus a. This, guys, is the key. So when you apply it to solving this equation with an absolute value, so we have x minus 1 equals 2. So applying this technique, we write x minus 1 to be positive 2 or x minus 1 equals negative 2. Then it's a simple solving of this linear equation. For the first one, x minus 1 equals 2, we get x to be 3, and the second one, we get x to be minus 1. Very important, guys, to check your answer. Checking the answer means what values we have got for x should be substituted in the original problem. So let's do x equals 3. So when we substitute in the original problem, what do we get? 3 minus 1 absolute value equals 2. Then it's an absolute value of 2 equals 2. Answer is 2 equals 2. So yes, 3 is an answer. Let's go ahead. Look at x equals minus 1. Now, plugging it in the equation, we have minus 1 equals 2. Absolute value of negative 2 equals 2. And the answer again is 2 equals 2. So good. Both x equals 3 and minus 1 are the solutions to this problem. Let's go and look at other absolute value problems. Now this time we are going to increase the difficulty of the problem. Now we're having x squared minus 3x, absolute value of that expression equals minus 4x plus 6. Once again, remember guys, when we have a problem, the formula is when absolute value x equals a, you basically take away the absolute value and write as plus minus a on the other side of the equation. So keeping that in mind, this equation x squared minus 3x absolute value equals minus 4x plus 6 will now be written as x squared minus 3x equals minus 4x plus 6, or x squared minus 3x equals negative of the expression minus 4x plus 6. Remember, I'm keeping the parentheses, guys. Very, very important. So let's solve the first one. X squared minus 3x equals minus 4x plus 6. Get all the terms on the left-hand side. So when you do that, what are we basically doing? We are adding a 4x and a minus 6 here and a 4x minus 6 here. So basically this becomes 0 on the right hand side, and on the left hand side we get x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. So when we solve this one, it is x plus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0. So there are two x values, minus 3 and 2. Let's go ahead and solve the other one. That is x squared minus 3x equals minus, parentheses are opened, minus 4x plus 6, parentheses are closed. Now before we get this, we basically need to distribute this negative inside this expression. And what are we going to get? We're going to get 4x minus 6 and x squared minus 3x on the left-hand side. And then get all the terms on the left-hand side here of the equal sign. We get x squared minus 7x plus 6 equals 0. Solving this quadratic equation, we can easily factor it out. We get x minus 6 times x minus 1 equals 0. So the two x values from this equation is 6 and 1. So now we have 4 terms to check whether whether minus 3, 2, 6 or 1 is an answer. All of them can be, some of them cannot be. But we have to check each one. So let's start with x equals minus 3 first. So x equals minus 3. So plugging it in the original equation, remember this is my original equation. I have minus 3 the whole square minus of 3 times minus 3 equals minus 4 times minus 3 plus 6. So right hand side we get 12 plus 6, we get 18. Let's go to the left hand side. We are getting 9 plus 9, absolute value of 18. 18 equals 18. Good, this is right. Okay, now let's look at the next one. X equals 2. So plugging it in the expression, we get 2 squared minus 3 times 2 equals minus 4 times 2 plus 6. We get minus 8 plus 6 equals minus 2. Let's see what gets on the left hand side. We get 4 minus 6 absolute value, negative 2 absolute value, then answer is 2 equals minus 2. No ways, that is not possible. We all agree with that. So this is not the answer. Now I have to check 6 and 1. I'm going to take it on the other side of this page so that we have more space to write. Okay, let's start with x equals 6. Plugging it in, we get 6 squared minus 3 times 6 equals minus 4 times 6 plus 6, negative 24 plus 6, negative 18. Well, on the other side, we have 36 minus 18, absolute value, we're getting absolute value of 18. Now 18 cannot be equal to negative 18. So clearly x equal to 6 is not an answer. Let's look at the last one. X equals 1. Plugging it in the original problem, 1 squared minus 3 times 1. Closing the absolute value, minus 4 times 1 plus 6. So on the right hand side, we're getting minus 4 plus 6 equals minus 2. Oh, sorry, positive 2. Okay, left hand side. You're getting 1 minus 3 absolute value minus 2 absolute value. Then you get 2 equals 2. Great. That is correct. So x equal to 1 is the solution. So what do we notice, guys? That out of these 4 possible scenarios for x, we only have minus 3 as a right one and 1 as a right solution. 2 and 6 are not the solutions to this problem. So the solutions are x equals minus 3 and 1. One more problem, guys, and we'll be done with the absolute value examples. Okay, So here's the problem. It is x squared plus 6 as absolute value equals 3x plus 18. Once again, let me write it down here for you. What is the formula we are applying? Absolute value of x equals a, or x equals plus minus absolute value of a. Okay, so what does that tell us? X squared plus 6x will equals 3x plus 18, or x squared plus 6x is negative, opening the brackets, 3x plus 18, closing the brackets. Now let's come to the first one. X squared plus 6x equals 3x plus 18. Get all the terms on the left-hand side of the equal sign. We get x squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0, which can be written as x plus 6 times x minus 3 equals 0. So we get two terms here, minus 6 and a positive 3. Before we check the answers here, let's finish up the other part of this equal sign. X squared plus 6x is minus 3x plus 18. So let's distribute the negative inside. We get negative 3x, negative 18, and the left-hand side is x squared plus 6x. Now getting all the terms on the left-hand side of this equal sign, we get x squared plus 9x plus 18 equal to 0. Factoring it out, we get x plus 6 times x plus 3 equals 0, or x is minus 6 and minus 3. So in other words, we have to test 3 of them. That means x is minus 6, positive 3, and x is negative 3. We have to test all 3 of them to see whether they're the answers. Okay, so let's go ahead and check our answers. Now x minus 6, what does that mean? Minus 6 the whole square plus 6 times minus 6, closing the absolute value, 3 times minus 6 plus 18. We're getting negative 18 plus 18 on the right hand side, which is equal to 0. Let's look at this side. On the left hand side, we get positive 36 minus 36 absolute value, which is basically 0. 0 equals 0. Good. X equal to minus 6 is a solution. Let's look at x equals 3. Now for x equals 3, plug it in the original equation. We get 3 squared plus 6 times 3, closing the absolute value, 3 times 3 plus 18. So what are we getting? Here is 9 plus 18, 27 on the right hand side. Left hand side, what are we going to get? 9 plus 18, close the absolute value of 27, which is basically 27. So x equal to 3 is the solution. Now let's look at x equals minus 3. Over here, we have minus 3. Now remember, it's a square, so I have to be very careful. Plus 6 times minus 3. Okay. This equals 3 times minus 3 plus 18. We have negative 9 plus 18 equals a positive 9 on the right hand side. Left hand side, we have 9 minus 18, closing the absolute value. We get minus 9, which is basically 9. So 9 equals 9. Great. All the 3, x equal to 6, x equal to 3, and x equal to minus 3, all are the solutions to this problem. So for this one, the solution is x equals minus 6, 3, and minus 3. Thank you, guys.